This is not going to be a very long live stream, but it's another tragic news. Just like Tina Turner, we lost another legend. I grew up watching that man wrestle, the Iron Sheik. He was from Tehran, Iran, originally. He moved to America. I think he was in his early 30s or late 20s, early 30s. He moved to America. He moved to Minnesota and met Vern Gagne. And before he met Vern Gagne, he actually wrestled with a school of the University of Minnesota. And he went on to get a gold medal in the Olympics, the Iron Sheik. Greco-Roman wrestling. He has strong ties to Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle graduated from the same school, University of Minnesota. And that's why later in his career, out of respect, Kurt Angle shaved his head like the Iron Sheik, pay his respects. But Iron Sheik lifted my eyes to the wrestling world of a certain thing, which is ironic. The heroes, what they call the baby faces, and then you had the villains, right? Like he was one of them. But in reality, it's reversed. The guys who played his villains were actually nice, decent people. And it's the ones that were the baby faces, the heroes, were actually assholes. When you find out about it, when you listen to these wrestlers talk about the way things went down backstage or whatever, that the majority of the heroes were assholes, and the people who played the villains were actually nice, decent people. And the Iron Sheik wasn't too much different in real life than he was, in the ring. But once you get him stirred up, oh yeah. And there were two of them in particular he really, truly did not like. He tried to be friends with Hulk Hogan, but Hogan always turned his back on him. If you look on YouTube and see the interviews of what Hogan did to Iron Sheik, it's awful. And you learn, like, yeah, Hogan's an asshole. Yeah, he was. He is. But I liked it when Howard Stern would have the Iron Sheik on, and if you even talked about the Ultimate Warrior or Hulk Hogan, oh, that got the Iron Sheik going. He was like, "Fuck Hulk Hogan! I'll never forget it when I put him in the camel clutch, fucked him in the ass, broke his back, and made him humble." It was hilarious. And he'd say the same thing about the Ultimate Warrior. I think it was like about 10 years ago, there was a wrestling convention in Atlanta, and he could not get along with the Ultimate Warrior. Well, actually, nobody in wrestling liked the Ultimate Warrior anyway. And his agent brought him over to where the Warrior was because they were signing autographs. Brought him over to where the Warrior was, saying that the Warrior wanted to make amends and shake hands or whatever. But the Warrior turned his back on him. And then that set the Iron Sheik off. And he looked right at his agent and smacked him right there. Somebody recorded it. And he goes, "You brought me over here, you treat me like that? And I'm from Georgia," because he's from Georgia. And he starts taking his coat off. He goes, "We can go right here." Iron Sheik was in his late 60s then. It's like, hey, he wants to take with the Ultimate Warrior, for real. But you listen to some of the classic, wrestlers back in my day when I was a kid. Sometimes the shit was real, okay? Sometimes it wasn't. But a lot of beefs, a lot of things that you think that were accidents were not accidents. Like Andre the Giant when he wrestled the Ultimate Warrior. What it was is Andre and Hogan were trying to pass the torch off to the Warrior to be the next generation. But the Warrior did not want to seem to listen. And it was Saturday night's main event, and the Warrior was wrestling on Andre. And in the ring, he was getting instruction from Andre, and he wasn't listening. So Andre was coming up out of the ropes, acting like he was tied up in the ropes. And the Warrior bounced off the ropes to the opposite side. And as he was coming at Andre, All Andre did was stick his fist straight out, and Warrior's face met it. Pow! And he was out. I remember watching that, and I'm like, that was real. Because you heard the smack, and it was like, ooh, everybody felt that. Yeah, Andre did that on purpose. Like, you're not listening to me. Pay attention. Because, Andre either liked you or he hated you. You fell on one side of the fence with Andre. But it usually was decided first impression. Like, first impressions make all the difference. If you treated Andre, if you were new and you treated Andre with respect, then Andre liked you. And at first, sometimes in certain cases, like Roddy Piper, Andre always acted like he didn't like Andre. But actually, Andre was just testing him. And, when they decide on who's wrestling who, for the past months, every wrestling event, Andre gets to choose who he wrestles. He'd always say, I want to wrestle Piper. And if I was Roddy Piper, I'd be like, can I wrestle somebody else? I'm just waiting for Andre to get tired of kicking my ass all the time. He's got to get bored sometime. But that night, when Piper seemed to be like I want to wrestle somebody else, I'm always getting my ass kicked. Andre sold for Piper, and Piper thanked him for the remainder of his life because Andre sold for Piper, and that's coming from a legend like that says a lot. But I like watching videos, of wrestlers from back in my day. My favorite era of wrestling was, late 1979 to like 91. That was my era. I liked it a little bit into the 90s, but after them guys started disappearing, I stopped watching. Like, my favorite group of wrestlers was the Nation of Domination with Ron Simmons as the leader, and had Rocky Maivia. Rocky Maivia, you all know him as The Rock. He was known as Rocky Maivia, the Intercontinental Champion. And he kept on trying to step over from Ron Simmons talking. And Ron Simmons looks at him and goes, you're just begging me to whip your ass, ain't you? But Ron Simmons was great. I like Ron Simmons. He got a lot of character. But, I'm just saying goodbye to Iron Sheik. Great wrestler. In reality, he would have beat Hogan's ass. But he sold for Hogan to be the first time he became the WWF World Heavyweight Champion, was he pinned Iron Sheik. And Iron Sheik held the title, I believe, for 8 months. And Iron Sheik pinned Bob Backlund, one of the least popular WWF champions at the time. He pinned Bob Backlund. He was champ for like 8 months and then sold for Hulk Hogan because Hogan was the up-and-coming thing. Hogan could not wrestle. But a lot of the guys that I grew up watching really weren't, you look at it, I mean, yeah, they knew how to wrestle. They had how to do things without killing each other. But they really, compared to some of the wrestlers today, jumping off the cage and all, that was Cactus Jack. Mick Foley. Mick Foley, like Ron Simmons said, going in, he wasn't afraid of shit. But Mick Foley's going for brain surgery, which is kind of scary. But Mick Foley, great people is what Ron Simmons was saying. And Mick Foley is. He was just a little bit crazy. And he's got all the scars to prove it. Oh, boy, the memories. But what makes these guys legends is they really didn't have to wrestle. They had something that this generation does not have at all, except for the women's division. The women's division of the WWE is what's holding it together. I tried to watch the guys wrestle, and it's like, these guys have no charisma or character, like the guys that I watched. Jake the Snake, $1 Million Man, a whole slew of them. They all had character and charisma, and made it to where they didn't have to wrestle. Like Ric Flair, he's been around for 60 years now? Ric Flair, up until 30 years ago, he didn't have to wrestle anymore. He just had to come out with his music playing and go, woo! That's all he had to do. And it'd stir the whole crowd up. The whole crowd would be doing it. He'd go out there and yak away on the microphone and then turn around and go back. He didn't have to wrestle anymore. Like Ron Simmons today. Ron Simmons don't have to wrestle anymore. All he's got to do is come out with a bad looking attitude, grab a microphone, stand there for a minute or two, and just go, damn, and then throw the microphone down and go in the back room. He doesn't have to because he's got charisma and character, and everybody already knows. But I got to tell you, the women's division of the WWE, very solid. These ladies show a lot of charisma and character. But these guys, it's like bland. It's like, these guys are a bunch of tools. Some of them are the sons of famous wrestlers. It's like, what the hell's the matter with them? But I will miss Iron Sheik. I missed him coming on the Howard Stern show. They would stir him up on purpose just to get him going because the Iron Sheik is hilarious to listen to when he gets aggravated. He'd go at it with, there was this handicapped African-American midget guy, mentally handicapped, Beetlejuice. Oh, him and Beetlejuice used to go at it. That was hilarious. But I just did this short live stream to pay my respects again to another legend, the Iron Sheik. And I'm going to end the live stream, guys. Thanks for coming. I can't read the chat because I'm driving. But this is a tribute to Iron Sheik. If I ever got to meet him, I would say, Assalamu alaikum. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.